the Home Secretary is defending sweeping new plans to overhaul the UK's asylum and return system after anger from Labour's own backbenchers over the reforms.
Around 20 Labour MPs have spoken out about the changes, describing them as dystopian and shameful, to use just a few of the words that were echoed around the chamber yesterday. And we're joined now by the Housing Minister, Steve Reid. Good morning to you, Housing Secretary, I should say.
Yeah.
We've demoted you there. My apologies for
and
that.
My apologies, Steve, because I completely forgot that you represent a South London constituency, and then I remembered, of course, you're a huge Crystal Palace fan.
So, look, a lot hanging over from Shabana Mahmood's speech yesterday, the Home Secretary. When you've got the likes of Tommy Robinson saying that she's bang on, absolutely right about immigration, you're also being supported by Nigel Farage, pretty much, and also the Conservatives, Kemi Badenoch, said you're hitting the right notes here. Does that feel true to your Labour values? Is that comfortable for you?
The last thing the far right want us to do is fix this problem, because they only exist because the previous government failed to fix this problem. So we will get on and fix it. And all of us that were elected as Labour MPs at the last general election were elected on a manifesto where we committed to securing our borders. And that's the right thing to do, because it's something that is being raised with us constantly by members of the public. But beyond that, we know that we need to end this vile trade in human trafficking, where you have got the trafficking gangs extorting millions of pounds in total of very, very vulnerable people to crowd them onto those dinghies and then launch them into the English Channel, putting their lives at risk. So we can't go on with a system like that. We need to set up safe and legal routes so that those who have an entitlement to the security and protection and sanctuary that our country can offer can come here. But we want to get rid of the system that is allowing the people traffickers to make money out of human misery. We can't go on like that.
Smash the gangs was your slogan as you went into the election. You haven't smashed the gangs. And now you seem to be targeting the very people that you've just said those gangs are preying on, the asylum seekers. I mean, you know, you've got around 20 of your own backbenchers saying this kind of targeting is morally wrong, it is repugnant. How come they think that this is such a morally divisive, unpleasant approach to these vulnerable individuals?
Well, this is all part of smashing the gangs. And the government is making a difference already. I think 50,000 people who had no right to be here.
But the gangs are going to carry on regardless. The gangs don't care about them, do they? They're just going to make their money sending them over the channel.
Well, they won't if there's no longer that incentive that if you go across the channel, you can just stay here, whether you have a right to remain here or not. I mean, there is a real issue about human life. Like, over the last year, 14 children have been put on those boats and have lost their lives horrifically, tragically, in the seas. And that's at least in part because the traffickers are telling people that if you bring a child across on one of those boats and you get to the UK, then you won't be removed, even if you don't have any right to be here because you have children. So that is acting now as a perverse incentive, endangering children's lives. You can't just sit back and allow that to continue and say it's somehow compassionate, because none of us want to see children's lives in danger. We need safe and legal routes so that the families that need to be here because of persecution, because of war in their home countries, can come here. But we want to stop the traffickers sending people over who really have no right to be here because their home countries are perfectly safe.
All right, I want to ask you about housing as well. You are the Housing Secretary, of course. You got an announcement today about trying to increase the number of houses being built by liberalising planning law, essentially. But all the forecasts say you're still going to miss this target to build 1.5 million homes over the course of a Labour government. Planning approvals for new homes are actually at a record low. So this is yet another area where Labour is not delivering on what it promised people it would do in the general election.
Well, the independent OBR, the Office for Budget Responsibility, said that we will hit that 1.5 million target by 29/30, and that's what I'm working to do. Unfortunately, it takes time to fix the problem. We inherited a stagnant housing market from the previous government, and it takes time to get the applications in, then agree those applications and then get spades in the ground. So you'll see a lift-off later on in the Parliament as we start motoring towards hitting that target. But to make sure we get there, I came on your show a few weeks ago and announced a package to encourage house building in London, and today I'm announcing a package that will encourage house building across the rest of the country. If you take train stations located outside our cities or towns where there are plenty of job opportunities, what a perfect location to start building homes, because the public transport infrastructure is already in place. You don't have to wait to get it funded and built. So you can build the homes there. We're simplifying that process, and we're urging councils to get on and say yes by default to applications like that, because we can get the homes built that people need to afford somewhere to rent or to buy.
Steve Reid, rather like an Oscars speech. The music is coming in under the end of that interview, which means we have to leave it there.